Hello everyone, we're ready to show you some new game. Today we will look at Breathedge and we'll try to understand what makes it so fun. Today's video will be short, so let's not waste our time. Breathedge has the dubious accolade of being a game that within 5 minutes of starting had me both excited to play more and wanting to turn it off. The setup for the game is that the main chapter is captured by the robots and recounting their tale of how they ended up in this encounter. There are some goofy credits that made me chuckle, and then the game pauses as one of the robots lights a cigarette and tells the player that the cigarettes cause loud headlines in newspaper and other diseases, prompting the user with "Yay, censorship" or "No, let him smoke." This made me mutter, okay, but can we just get on with the game? Breathedge's gameplay is set up in a flashback. The main chapter was aboard a giant space liner that crashed, and now they're having to venture out into space and attempt to build enough resources to find a way out of the predicament. The game is played in first-person perspective and is an open-world survival game set in the vast loneliness of space. Breathedge is really sleek when it comes to its sense of scale. In the beginning, there are several floating hulks that the player, low on oxygen supplies, will struggle to get to. Trying to explore these fully seems impossible, but as a player, a cruiser feels and upgrades, these seemingly massive structures will be dwarfed by the later areas. There's a real feeling of accomplishment when returning to an initial area takes a second after it initially took hours to get out of them. Similarly, the way the player goes from barely being able to survive to building their own space station to flying space vehicles helps make the game feel big in a meaningful way. The problems arise in some of the performance issues, some design choices, and the narrative. Combing through the reviews is often akin to being a detective, as a player comes across vignettes where they discover how other members of the crew meet their grisly deaths. This would be macabre, but the game opts to deliver a lightness to the whole proceeding. For example, a smuggler crashed with one eye popping out will prompt the AE narrator to deliver a cheery jibe for the situation. Also, this does help to elevate what would be a somber game. The humor missed more than it hit for me. Equally awkward is the lack of optimization. When Breathedge is running well, the vistas are breathtaking. However, what it decides to prioritize is accusingly distracting. Lava pits kilometers away will be rendered in detail, while pieces of rock within touching distance will be featureless blobs for extended periods of time. Geometry can be seen through textures in a way that make the game look boggy. Worse, sometimes items will pop in randomly, things like enemy robots that can damage the player or items that the ship can collide with go beyond mild inconveniences when they blink into existence at the last minute. Less pressing but worth also noting is that the inventory management can be a little tiresome. Each item takes up one space in whatever storage device the player has, and similar items cannot be stacked. In the late stages of the game, this can mean scrolling through 30 pieces of plastic to get to the one bit of titanium needed to make something. Finally, there are a couple of puzzles that made me befuddled. A rocket that needs to be powered by meat pellets and a hitherto unused jump button come into play in the weirdest of places, and the game doesn't signpost this well. With those complaints aside, I still pushed through the game to see where it was going, almost as spite of the naively edgy narrative and rough edges. Because rebuilding a small pocket of life in emptiness of space just feels good. Breathedge is an uneven experience. The space exploration survival is genuinely delightful, but workmanlike approach to presentation and the humor drags the experience down, undoing the oppressive atmosphere with dates, references, and gags. I would recommend this game to fans of the genre who have exhausted their choices. Others will do better to start elsewhere.